Good evening and welcome to Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. Tonight's College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin women's lacrosse game features the Augustana College Vikings and your North Central College Cardinals. The NCAA, the CCIW, and North Central College encourage and promote good sportsmanship among student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, spectators, or team representatives, as well as public intoxication and consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco products are grounds for removal from the stadium and other disciplinary action. Introducing tonight's starting lineups. First for the Vikings. Number 1, Lauren Amella. Number 2, Kauki. Number 3, Tracy Kane. Number 4, Hannah Tasenga. Number 7, Carla Bennett. Number 12, Bailey Asen. Number 14, Chloe Anderson. Number 22, Courtney Veach. Number 24, Emily Luchnik. Number 27, Christina McCabe. Number 29, Tiffany Thompson. And number 38, Analia Fowler. Augustana is coached by C.J. Durham. She's assisted by Randall Hayflinger and Isabella Miller. And now, the starting lineup for your North Central College Cardinals. Number 3, Nellie Scranton. Number 5, Addie Records. Number 7, Paige Naturney. Number 13, Christina Truber. Number 14, Meek Richardson Clark. Number 17, Madeline McHugh. Number 20, Jessica Deachin. Number 21, Emily Kosak. Number 22, Grace Steiner. Number 23, Annabelle Steiner. Number 25, Rebecca Clausen. Number 99, Camille Seguizio. The Cardinals are coached by Danielle Fiala. She's assisted by Claire Norfleet and Kaylin Spitol. The faculty mentor is John Small. At this time, we ask that you please rise and face the flag at the south end of the field as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem.
Hello and welcome to Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. Kevin Jackman alongside Zach Bucher as we present another edition of North Central Lacrosse. And Zach, this is a very good Cardinals team that has begun the year. They're 9-1 in the season. And this Augustana College Viking team, well, they're no slouch. They won the CCIW last year, so this should be a pretty good clash.
Yeah, it's going to be a clash amongst Titans in the conference here tonight. And Another thing that we can look for is to see if the Cardinals can keep up their offensive momentum, having scored 43 goals over the last 2 games.
We'll see exactly what the Cardinals can do tonight against this very good Viking team. Cardinals come out with a starting lineup that looks like this: Nellie Scranton, 80 records, Paige Natterney, Christina Truver, Mink Richardson-Clerk, Madeline McHugh, Jessica Dietjen, Emily Kosak, Grace Steiner, Annabella Steiner, Rebecca Clausen, and Camila Sigisio. Just a few moments away from the opening face-off. And the Cardinals really, they're looking to try and get over the hump in conference play. They've been closer for a few years, but they're still searching for that big win over a top-fledged opponent.
And this is the team to do it against. Augustana having played extremely well in conference over the last few seasons. It's just going to be a battle out there. And you really want to try and see this team come out and play well.
All set after a couple of mic issues, and we're ready to rock and roll. 20 seconds into the contest, and the Cardinals had the first offensive possession, and there is a quick goal right off the bat, and the Cardinals jump on top. Jessica Dietjen, I believe, was the Cardinal who blitzed in there, and that is, in fact, Dietjen. If you may have noticed, you can hear some wind in our crowd microphone. It is a very windy afternoon, evening here in Naperville, and those certainly the elements that is will play a part in our contest tonight. It's cold. It's going to be an interesting night to see how these players cope with the wind and the cold and all the stuff that comes with that.
Absolutely, and that comes with just about any sport. You see the sun shining, but it's very deceiving. You just think it's going to be a lot warmer out there when you get out onto the field, but then you get out there and you're shivering from head to toe. But that's when the players have to keep moving and try and keep themselves warm.
So Richardson-Clerk will take to midfield and try and win a second consecutive possession for NCC. About set to replay, and it's going to be a scrum in the middle of the field, and Richardson-Clerk, I think, will win this battle, and she does. Cardinals will get a second straight offensive possession off the restart. Now, this is not the Cardinal team of old. This looks like a very competitive team that might just vie for a conference title this season, as that one's knocked out of the stick, but a whistle, and it goes against the Cardinals. NCC 9-1 this season, and they have played some very good competition so far. Their only loss is to Colorado College out in Colorado Springs. That was a 21-13 score. But the Cardinals on a 3-game winning streak, including victory over Albion College, Beloit College, and the University of Northwestern Minnesota.
Yeah, they've just been pouring it on offensively, so to see them get off to an early 1-0 lead really shows that they're trying to keep that offensive momentum going.
Augustana on the offensive end, and battling towards the crease, and a nice snag by Sigisio, working up against the Viking attacker in Carla Bennett. And she's a midfielder, a junior from South Howland, Illinois. The Cardinals able to recover there, and nice goalkeeping from the junior, Camille Sigisio. Pass nearly intercepted, and now it's picked up off the turf. That one claimed by Bennett, as the Vikings go back to work. Sunlight making it a little difficult for spectators today, as it's peaking just over the horizon. It's 7 o'clock here in Naperville, and that sun gets pretty fierce coming into Benedetti Worley Stadium.
Luckily for the players, plenty of blockage, so no sun in their eyes.
Doesn't appear so. Ball pops loose, but a penalty on the Cardinals will give the Vikings a free shot from the 8-meter line. With it is Christina McCobb. It's one-on-one with Sigisio. Waiting for the whistle. And there it is. Races in, gets bumped, and the ball comes out. Picked up by the Vikings and Bailey Assen. But another penalty on the NCC team.
And some of the time you can live with these penalties as long as your defense is going to play well and be able to bounce back from them off the reset.
Assen is the one to have the ball in her pocket right now, waiting for the restart. And it is there, and the shot on goal is scooped up by Sigisio. So a second save for number 99, and the Cardinals are in business early. Really good goaltending on 2 point-blank shots. And we are still scoreless in the first half. Long pass finds its target. Cardinals lead 1-0, and now they lead 2-0. And that goal coming from 80 Records, I believe. So 4.5 minutes into this game, and the Cardinals racing out to an advantage over the Vikings. Keep in mind, the last time these two teams met in the regular season was last year, and the Vikings took the first 6 of 7 goals, so the Cardinals were playing behind the 8 ball for the majority of the contest. Not the case this year. The Cardinals have jumped up by that 2-0 score. Working with an advantage is certainly different than playing from behind.
Absolutely. Playing from behind, you really have to turn it up a notch and play at a level that maybe you're not always used to playing, but it is nice to see that they're making an effort to put the offensive pressure on early and make sure that they aren't playing from behind the 8 ball.
Pass is errant, but picked up by the Cardinals, and helping pick that one up is Maddie McHugh as she throws it behind the net, and the Cardinals settle into a half-court set. Nice move towards the net and nearly taken down, and the ball taken away from Records. But the Cardinals claim it right back. Richardson Clerk with the swipe. To the top, and it's with Deachin. She works her way near side and throws it to McHugh. McHugh spins, shot on goal is good. And the Cardinals lead 3-0.
And the last couple of goals coming off of really good defensive plays. So you got to credit the defense turning into some offense here for the Cardinals.
And we might see a timeout, and that is the case. Augustana takes a timeout. We are 4 minutes and 2 seconds into this game, and the Cardinals lead 3-0 over the defending CCIW champions. We'll be right back on NCTV 17. Welcome back to Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. The Cardinals lead 3-0 off the opening gun, and they've really put Augustana back on their heels. Vikings having to call a timeout, and this is unfamiliar territory for Augustana against this North Central team. They've had their way over the last, well, who knows how many years. Cardinals, though, with a little change in the script. They lead 3-0, and they're looking to add on some more here as McHugh has it. She just scored a few moments ago. Looks like a very aggressive offense the Cardinals are employing against this Viking defense.
You also have to really like what you're seeing out of Richardson Clerk, doing a really good job with the face-offs, and it has a steal so far.
Pass out in front of the net is intercepted. That was intended for Nellie Scranton. Never quite got to her. Nice whack and a potential steal. The ball taken away by Deachin. The shot is lofted into the net. I think the miscue ended up being, well, it worked out for Deachin, and she has her second goal.
Yeah, it seemed like the ball might have been tipped off the shot, but tipped enough to where it just went over the net of the goalie.
Analia Fowler is the starting goalkeeper for Augustana, and yeah, I think she was waiting for a BB about shoulder high. The ball just kind of flipped out and perfectly placed on accident in the top shelf.
That close to the net, you don't really expect a lofted shot like that. You're expecting a bullet coming at you.
More often than not, I'm not sure that that's necessarily even a finesse shot. I don't know if that's even possible to do intentionally at high speeds. Perhaps it is, but it probably has a high level of difficulty. 25-11 to go, first half, and the Cardinals lead 4-0 over the Augustana Vikings. Certainly, this was not expected going into the game. Cardinals have been really good this year, but you never quite know what's going to happen once you hit conference play. Could they go up 5-0? Ooh, almost. And Augustana awarded the ball. Now the rule there, if you are just watching casually at home, it's the closest player after a shot, if it goes out of bounds, that team will be awarded possession of the lacrosse ball.
And that's why you see a lot of the players stick their sticks out as close as they possibly can to the ball. Because it is an extension of the player.
Yeah, it's the closest piece, so that's why they do stick that out to be to the sideline. And a near takeaway, still battling for it, and finally won by the Vikings. Knocked off course, but staying with it is Christina McCabe. Racing far side, and now has to stop and survey the field. At the top with Bennett. Bennett double teamed, passes out of it, and the shot is good. Emily Lusnick with the goal for Augustana, and that'll break a 4-goal slide for the Vikings. That wasn't an easy goal by any means either. They really had to work for that. And what is their first goal of the night?
Yeah, so far we've seen the defense of the Cardinals work really hard, and they've done a good job. That was really their only miscue so far, and I wouldn't even really call it a miscue. That was just a good piece of offense.
Nice setup and a good conversion there for the Vikings. 23:48 up on the clock here in the first half. The wind continues to howl. There are 3 flags here on the scoreboard end of Benedetti Worley Stadium, and they are all flapping at high speed. The NC flag, the American flag, and the CCIW flag. You can see them all proudly displayed because, well, they're all completely stiff in the wind. Another face-off and a whistle will award the ball to the Cardinals, I believe. Yes. So Richardson Clark will start at midfield. And blitzes past her defender and into the offensive zone. Nice move put on to the net, bouncing that one in, and good. What a move from Deachin.
Not really a sport you'd think about breaking someone's ankles, but that was about as close as you possibly could get.
That was really impressive stuff. And that gives the Cardinals a 5-1 lead. What a start for this North Central team. It's hard to stop saying that because, again, this Augustana team went up 6-1 last year down in Rock Island. And this is a complete reversal of fortune for NCC.
And as you say, reversal of fortune, you really have to, if you're the Cardinals, make sure that you keep your foot on the gas pedal, because in years past, North Central has made a comeback against Augustana. So you never really want to count a team out, even though you're playing well to start off the game here.
And Richardson Clark will pick it up. Lofts it ahead and a little too tall for its intended target, but a nice job hustling and picking this one up for the Cardinals is Grace Steiner. Now to the top, and Richardson Clark makes a move and is stopped, has to slow up and back out. No wiggle room. Out in front, backing it behind the net, and the Vikings cutting off all avenues except for that one. Steiner puts the goalie on the caboose and makes it a 6-1 score.
Cardinals doing a really good job of penetrating the defensive zone, and even players that are off the ball doing a really good job of cutting through into the passing lanes.
It's that off-the-ball movement that's really a catalyst for North Central right now, and they're doing it with cutters.
And that throws the defense off because, as we've seen, even the offensive players can make good moves to get to close into the net. So you can't really do anything right now if you're Augustana.
We'll see if the Cardinals can keep the foot on the accelerator. The amount of face-offs NCC has won has certainly helped, and this might too. Racing in, Steiner blocked. This follow-up is good. Maddie McHugh picks up the rebound and throws it in, and it's 7-1.
And as if on cue, your question is answered.
By McHugh. 22:16 to go in this first half, and the Cardinals are up 7-1. I'm a little speechless.
And usually in a game like this, it's time of possession that really shows shows you who is dominating the game offensively. But we're only 8 minutes, just almost 8 minutes into the game, and you can clearly see that North Central has been dominating, but they've been dominating with quick offense.
Another face-off won by NCC. Keep in mind, North Central has never beaten Augustana. This is the 10th meeting between the two schools, and never once has the Cardinals come out with a win. Nice pass out by the goalkeeper and Fowler. Dumping this one past midfield. Now the Vikings are off and running. Can they cash in on one of their rare opportunities on the offensive end?
You could probably count on one hand the amount of offensive possessions Augustana has had.
This will be, I believe, the third. Segisio has made a couple of nice saves, point blank. The other goal came right out in front, almost inside the crease. Moved to the net by Bennett, and she'll draw a foul. And she'll get a straight-on shot at Segisio when the whistle blows. The shot saved by Segisio. Throws it out ahead. And now North Central wants to stay on the fast break, but the pressure comes from behind. And a big collision, and the Cardinals will draw a whistle. That was Paige Nadherney. And the big hit taken by the Viking player. She gets up all right. Pilachati, who's a freshman from Chicago. And now the Vikings right back at it. Austin comes in, out in front of the net. Where did that go?
Into the net of...
into Segisio's...
Yeah, Segisio's net.
And they're going to call an infraction, I believe, on North Central. And that is the case. So, 8-meter line set up for McCobb as she readies. .23 on the clock. The shot taken away by Segisio. Throws it over to the sideline, and that will head out. So it still belongs to Augustana. Bringing it in is Carla Bennett. Bennett has been maybe the most active Viking so far tonight.
I would say so.
McCobb also right there with her, and she has it knocked out. I don't think she realized that immediately as Richardson Clerk takes it, and Bennett hits the deck hard. And NCC is still battling for control as Nadherney throws it out and ahead, and the Cardinals now have it in the offensive zone. And a penalty on the Vikings will give the Cardinals another shot at it from the 8-meter line. And the Cardinals won't try to take advantage right away. Grace Steiner instead backs it out. Light starting to take effect. That shot just wide, and it'll be a Cardinal ball. I believe that was Nellie Scranton on the shot attempt. 19:02 to go here in the first half. 7-1 Cardinals lead first half. Pass out in front to the cutting member of the Cardinals in Steiner, and she scores the 8th goal of the contest. Beautiful dish, well executed finish. The Cardinals open up a 7-goal gap. Again, it's that cutter who's coming into play.
Yeah, Augustana just seems to be falling asleep on defense when it comes to cutting off cutters. It's really helped the Cardinals get their offense going here in the last couple of possessions.
We're going to step aside. A timeout taken by Augustana. We'll be right back with 18:50 to go in the first half on NCTV 17. It's been an eventful first 10 minutes on the lacrosse field for North Central, who leads 8-1 over the Augustana Vikings. Mind you, this is a Viking team that is the reigning CCAW champion. They were perfect in conference a year ago at 6-0. They beat the Cardinals 12-8 on their home turf, and this year they've traveled to Naperville, and well, the Cardinals have already matched their goal output from an entire game last season. We've played 11 minutes.
And they've been able to do this with great defense, forcing key turnovers from the Vikings, and some great goalkeeping so far by Sigisio.
18-20, and the Cardinals back in business. McHugh thought she had it, and it popped out. Picking that one off the turf is Records, who leads this team in points. She has 1 tonight. McHugh has 2, Steiner has 2, and Deachin has 3. Out in front, and make that 9 goals for the Cardinals as Scranton gets on the board at the 17:56 mark. This is something else.
Cardinals making a lot of good moves off the ball, just really throwing the Vikings defense through a loop. You saw there that the Cardinals thought that they were going to get a good drive to the net, and then Scranton cuts back out and almost immediately cuts back in, and Vikings were completely thrown off by it.
Scranton just a sophomore, and you can look up and down this roster. Oh, by the way, there's no seniors. So they're setting this whole program up for success for years to come. Years to come. Danielle Fiala has done a phenomenal job constructing this roster. And there's only 2 juniors on the team. That's Abigail Lears, who's not starting tonight, and Camille Sigisio, who is starting.
In goal.
In goal.
So everyone on the field is either a freshman or a sophomore.
Correct. And this is a team that is already 9-1 in non-conference play and looking to go into the conference portion of the schedule with momentum. And I think you can call this momentum. Leading 9-1. Oof. 17.5 minutes to go in the first half, and the Cardinals again in the offensive zone, working it around that 8-meter line. Scranton to the middle, cutting and bouncing that one in. Good for Records.
Now that goal came off of a good screen by the Cardinals, as Scranton was able to wiggle loose to get open for the goal.
Waiting for the confirmation and the stick check, and I believe the Cardinals will be awarded this one. It took a little longer than usual, but it is, and it's now 10-1 with 17:15 to go in the first half. The Cardinals are jumping all over the Vikings. Augustana has already taken 2 timeouts. CJ Durham, who's the head coach of the Vikings, is probably a little exasperated right now. Hey, what's going on?
And usually if you take a couple of timeouts, you expect your team to come out of that timeout and be able to bounce back. But we've seen, as you said, 2 so far, and not much from the Vikings out of those timeouts.
And the whistle will blow prematurely, and the ball awarded to the Vikings. This North Central team voted on by the conference coaches to finish 4th in the CCIW. Illinois Wesleyan was the CCIW tournament champ in 2017. They were the top voted. Carthage and Augustana round out that group.
So this is almost a bit of a statement game for the Cardinals if they can pull out a big win.
I would say so. Waiting for a restart as Asen has it on the 8-meter line. Shot is swiped away by Sigisio. Ball popped up and taken away by the Vikings. A bad toss, and now out in front of the net with a little wiggle room, and that one's good. A mistake made by the Cardinals, and the Vikings capitalize. Asen with the goal.
And I mean, the score shows that not many mistakes made tonight by the Cardinals, but that one was capitalized on by the Vikings. So it's going to be up to them to try and force more to try and get back into this game.
Goal scored by number 12, Bailey Asen, assisted by number 27, Christina McKay.
So it's 10-2 now with 16:16 to go first half. Bit of a slow-moving first half with 12 goals already taking place and not even the first half of the half.
Yeah, a lot of stoppage of play, but that'll happen when you have a bunch of goals scored pretty quickly.
Dusk is upon us here in Naperville. The lights have taken full effect of Benedetti Worley Stadium, and the Cardinals lead the Vikings 10-2. But the Vikings have taken a couple of face-offs, and they're looking to build some steam in the later part of this first half. Kane with it. Bending around, surveys, and gives off. Loose Nick, near side, Bennett. Bennett against Richardson Clerk. Winds behind the net, looking for somebody to cut. Nothing going. Ball loose on the ground and still yet to be claimed. And now it's the Cardinals breaking free with it and racing up the field. A little behind Nadherney, but she's able to recover, make that. Scranton has it, goes coast to coast and top of the post. Ball belongs to the Cardinals, and Records will pick it up. Richardson Clerk, a little shimmy, and a goal for Richardson Clerk. Decisive move to the net.
Yeah, we haven't seen Richardson Clerk be all too aggressive in a while here. That time she decided to be be the aggressor on the offense, and had a pretty good shot.
North Central goal scored by number 14, Mink Richardson Clerk, assisted by number 5, Addie Records.
(11-2) the score, 14:49 to go, and the real MVP, our cameraman, Sean Laban. The lighting has changed in the last half an hour, making sure your TV has the whitest of whites, courtesy of Mr. Laban. 11-2, 14:49 to go, first half. Christina Truver with a brilliant move to shake free, and now gets rejected from entering the area right in front of the net. Now it's Scranton trying to break free. Access denied. And that shot wayward, might have been deflected, I believe it was. That was a rare cut to the net that the Cardinals could not capitalize on, and there's a mistake made. And the Vikings pick it up. That's Bailey Asen, who winds her way up the field, out ahead of the pack. And now slows down a little bit. And a stick check foul. It's like a forearm check in basketball.
Yeah, the refs allow a little bit of contact in this sport, but they're not just going to let you go out there and beat up the other team.
Shot still loose, but, oh, hold on, picked up now by Rebecca Clausen. And Sigisio makes another save. We'll get to her stats in just a moment, but what a first half she's having. 11-2, Cardinals with the advantage and looking to tack on. Pass out in front, and that one's claimed by the goalie, Fowler, after the slight little bobble from the Cardinals. Long pass finds its target. Cardinals able to raise back on the defensive end and get in front of the attacker in Austin. Nadherney pursuing from behind. Boy, the Cardinals providing some suffocating defense tonight.
Yeah, and it's really helped solidify their 9-goal lead at this point. We can talk about how good the offense has been so far until we're blue in the face, but you really got to give them credit on defense.
Picked up by Sigisio, out to Richardson Clark. And she throws one off the back foot and finds Clausen. A one hop and into the pocket of a Viking player. And a whistle blows, and Pielchatti will have the ball. And again, jarred loose. Cardinals very active on a stick check. 11:51 to go in the first half. The scoring has certainly slowed down from the early parts of this game. It felt like every 30 seconds we were stopping and conjoining or meeting up at midfield.
Yeah, the Vikings now finding a little bit of a groove, retaining more possession time in the last few minutes or so, really putting a stifle on the offense of the Cardinals.
Great defense from Clausen. The ball out, but a penalty, and the clock will stop at 11:19. And the Cardinals will concede a foul to the Vikings. Richardson Clark, I think, sent to the penalty box. Out in front, and a goal made. McCobb gets it past Sigisio, and it's 11-3.
And the way this game is going so far, this is what the Vikings are going to have to do. They're going to have to poke and prod and just try and chip away at the lead, because their offense so far has not been as efficient or quick as the Cardinals. So you really just got to try and hold the Cardinal offense at bay and then go to work on the other side of the field.
Well, the difficult part will also be to try and stop this Cardinal offense from scoring, because you can obviously chip away, but that relies on your defense being steady, and that certainly has not been the case for the Vikings. Although they have slowed it down, they haven't completely stopped it by any means here in the first half. Cardinals claim the face-off, and now here they come down the field. Boy, they move quick. Out in front of the net, Scranton saved, snagged away. Fowler with the impressive grab, the senior from Elmhurst.
And you see how quickly the Cardinals move on offense. That's really what we've been trying to talk about the whole game, is that they move so quickly and they get into scoring position so efficiently and easily that the Vikings don't know what to do on defense.
You have to defend about 15 seconds, and if you slip up for one of those, it's going to be a goal. Bennett with it, gives off. Austin waits for something to develop and now hits the accelerator towards the net, loses the ball. You might want to keep that in your possession. Now to the top. Foul on NCC. So Lusnig will have it as she stares down Sigisio. 10:07 to go. And she is cut off by the Cardinals. And another foul call on NCC. So we'll have a deja vu.
Not a really smart decision there. If you're going to drive towards the net, you really got to commit to taking a shot, because she backed out and was immediately swarmed by 3 players.
And that's exactly what you're saying. She just bounced that one in, bottom left shelf, and just like that, it's 11-4.
Yeah, Lusnig was bailed out there by the penalty call and righted her wrong from the first possession and took that shot and really committed to getting a shot off.
And even 10 minutes remain on the clock here in the first half. It's 11-4. The Cardinals led 10-1. So the Cardinals will want to talk it over. Danielle Fiala will summon the troops, and we'll see what they have in store in the final third of the first half. We'll be right back at NCTV 17. Cardinals need to try and find a way to slow down this Viking team. They really got off to a blistering start, and now they've conceded some ground.
Yeah, they've been making a lot of poor decisions on the defensive end, getting a lot of penalties called on them, and really just not being able to cash in on some unforced mistakes by the Vikings.
out in front in a big collision will result in Augustana continuing to have possession. .9:25 to go. Some of the fans not happy with some of these whistles, I don't think. I can hear some of them in my headset. That's a charge. Refs don't see it that way. And I would say for the most part, through the first 20 minutes of this game, the fouls have been pretty evenly parsed out. Pretty consistent with the way this game has been called. It's a cold game, too. You don't want a lot of contact. You want to try and take that away. There's a lot of sting on nights like this.
Yeah, and the Cardinals have really been aggressive on the defensive end, so you really are going to see a lot more penalties called more times than not. And while you think on the other end you should get some of the calls as well, they really haven't had many opportunities to get penalties called. They've scored so quickly.
I agree. Out in front, and another whistle, and this time it might draw an actual flag. Hold on a second. Is there an injured player down on the field? There is, and the training staff will come out and tend to the fallen player.
Just another unfortunate part of cold games like this. Injuries tend to, as you said before, sting a little more, and your muscles tighten up, and what could just be a small little cramp turns into something a little bigger because your muscles are so tense, trying to keep you warm.
As the training staff does its thing, we'll step aside, and we'll be right back on NCTV 17 after this. Welcome back. One of the Vikings players was injured on that last play and had to be helped off the field by the training staff, but under her own power, which is always a nice thing to see, as Christina McCobb will set up shop on the 8-meter line in front of Sigisio. And she cannot make it into the twine. Sigisio makes another stop. And looking for an outlet, will finally find one. Cardinals have had a tough time of lately trying to score on the offensive end, and they've also shown some cracks on the defensive end. Nadherney racing past the field. Up the sideline she goes, and finally settles down, reaching the end zone. Gives off to Records. Records surveying. And now makes a move. What a play by Records. So patient. And waits for her window to make it a 12-4 score.
Yeah, and a good job to fake the high shot and end up with the bounce shot. Really good job by Records.
She held on to that one for what seemed to be an eternity.
Yeah, usually you see these players drive in and throw a bullet and try and just get it in as quickly as possible. But that was a really good job, as you said, to stay patient, fake the shot, and get off an even better shot.
Good field awareness, knowing where she was in space and knowing where the defenders are and would be, and it pays off. 12-4 the score. Records now has 6 points in the contest. 3 goals and 3 assists, has been the biggest catalyst for the North Central Cardinals. Has really been a force to be reckoned with this season. Richardson Clerk claims the faceoff. Cardinals come back downfield, and picking up the ground ball is Scranton. 7:50 to go in the first half. Richardson Clerk down low, pass to the middle, incomplete. That one scooped up by Annabelle Steiner and given off to Richardson Clerk. A shot, but a penalty, I believe, on Augustana, closing out too closely to the shot attempt. Did not allow. Oh, take that back. That might be on the Cardinals. Coming off the field is Maddie McHugh. So that was on NCC. $7:27 to go first half. And McHugh sent off and in the box. Bennett blitzing up the sideline in pursuit and unable to get there. I believe the Cardinals had too many in the defensive zone. Out in front, and another whistle. $7:02 to go, a shot on net, and Sigisio snags it and lofts it out in front. Rebecca Clausen has it. And another pass, and one more might do the trick if the Cardinals can complete it. Or just take it in all the way, as Records seems willing to do, and she does. Don't listen to me, folks.
Yeah, no. She decided that she had an opening, and really good finesse shot, and found a hole in the top left-hand corner of the goal.
Impressive shot, and the Cardinals have certainly responded to the Augustana run midway through this first half. Cardinals led 10-1, then Augustana came back and trailed only 11-4. Still a 7-point gap, but against a Viking team that was so good last year, nothing's a given. But now to expand this back to a 9-point lead with 6.5 to go to the half it's encouraging for North Central.
Yeah, and even though, like you said, it was still a 7-point game at one junction of the game, it felt like the momentum was starting to shift more towards the Vikings. So to see the Cardinals respond and try and regain the momentum is, like you said, encouraging.
Nice move around, and Truver draws a whistle. Out in front and overshot, and out the back of the end zone it goes. Record will have it near the field goal post. Scranton missing just tall. Richardson Clerk with it. Out of the top it goes. Swung around. Deachin's been quiet for a little while. Out in front, Richardson Clerk stumbles and backs back out, and a whistle against the Augustana Vikings will give Richardson Clerk a shot one-on-one against Fowler. .553 to go, a pass, and off the crossbar, bottom right corner. Inch to the left, and it would have been 14-4. Richardson Clerk nearly comes up with a steal. Instead, it's Deachin with the swipe. And another whistle, this time against the Vikings.
Here's that suffocating defense that the Cardinals were putting on earlier in the half. Really helping them right now here to close out the first half.
5 minutes and change to go. Matty McHugh slows it down behind the net. Perhaps we'll see the Cardinal offense try to utilize more of the clock in the second half now that they've built up a substantial lead, and as they continue to build that substantial lead. Another goal for Steiner. Grace Steiner, her third. Or is that Annabelle? That is Annabelle Steiner, and I believe that's her first. With 5:02 to go, and the Cardinals take a 14-4 lead.
Even though the Cardinals have scored the last couple of possessions, they haven't been particularly easy shots like they had been getting earlier in the half. So the Vikings seem to be finding somewhat of a defensive groove.
I would agree. Steiner and her sister Grace. So Annabelle and Grace, both from Cincinnati, Ohio. You know what high school they went to? Wyoming.
Interesting.
Makes it sound like they're from two different states. They're not the only former pair of teammates on this roster. Paige Nadherney and Jessica Deachin both teamed up at Naperville North, which is a little closer than Cincinnati, Ohio.
Not by much.
Just a tad. 4:08 to go. And the ball will be awarded to the Augustana Vikings. Danielle Fialo, the former player turned coach. I was going to say, has really turned this program into a formidable opponent for some of these CCIW schools that are so used to being at the top, and that includes Augustana, and this game is extremely indicative of that. Picked up by NCC, another turnover. Clausen throws it ahead. And the Cardinals throw on the afterjets, and here comes Steiner. And she's denied access and goes behind the net to Records. Records waits and waits. Now throws it out in front and stopped. Steiner with the shot attempt and Fowler with the save. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Getting between a couple of defenders. Nice move there by McCobb. And now slows it down. Bennett, faced up by Richardson Clerk, gives off to Kane. Kane bumped and stripped. Deachin has it, throws it ahead, and out in front now, Records with it, and only 2 minutes on the clock. Cardinals get out in front. The shot comes right back to Steiner, and she misses wide right on the second effort. Good tenacious play, just a little wide.
Yeah, and Fowler really stepping her game up in the last few minutes. Bunch of shots on goal, but denied so far. Perhaps trying to spark her team.
90 ticks left for Augustana to try and go into the half with something positive. If the half ended 10 minutes earlier, they would have gone in feeling pretty good.
Yeah, the momentum was on their side, and they had only a 7-point deficit. You had to feel pretty good about that, considering the way the game had started.
Takeaway from the Cardinals, and now racing back to the net is Fowler, and the Cardinals score. If you blinked, you missed it. Steiner puts them up 15-4. That is not positive. The clock continues to run. I'm not sure if that's an error or if it's because the Cardinals lead by 10 or more. I'm curious. That might be it. I'm not sure.
North Central goal scored by number 22, Grace Steiner.
Either way, good job defensively by Steiner. Really caught Fowler off guard. Fowler thought she had an easy pass to her teammates, and Steiner came out of nowhere and picked that off.
10 seconds on the clock. And we may not even get play. We'll get the whistle with 2 seconds remaining, and that'll be it for the half. First half is drawn to a close as the Cardinals lead 15-4. North Central blowing out the reigning CCIW regular season champ. We'll see what happens in the second half. Stay tuned. We'll be right back at NCTV 17. Welcome back for the second half of play on NCTV 17. Kevin Jackman alongside Zach Bucher, and there are 30 more minutes put up on the clock as the Cardinals lead Augustana 15-4. North Central racing out to this advantage and just trying to figure out at the half how this is occurring. The Cardinals have never beaten this Augustana team, so this is an uncharted territory, and yet here we are. North Central with an 11-point lead over the reigning CCIW champion and with no signs of letting up.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the first half. At this point, you know who Augustana is, what they've done, how you've played against them in the past. You can't let up at this point. You have to come out and play the second half the way that you started the first, because that is the team that is going to get out and score more goals and really just put the knife in the coffin.
Not just the nail.
Yeah, the nail in the coffin.
I like the knife one better. Oh, is that a goal? It is, I think. She knifes it in. Another goal for the Cardinals. I don't know who was the one that scored that. Let's find out. That is Jessica Dietjen. She was the one who got them off and running in the first half as well. I believe that's her fourth goal. Keep in mind, by the way, we checked with the official scorer during the half. The clock will continue to run now after goals. It does not stop, I believe, for penalties. But that might help expedite this game if the Cardinals continue to run away. With the cold in the area, that might be in the best interest of everybody involved.
I agree, and we've seen so far in the first minute, 10 seconds that the Cardinals aren't the team to try and hold on to the ball for a long offensive possession. But perhaps we might see a change in that here with a big lead in the second half. But at the same time, you run the risk of stifling your offense that has been really good tonight.
And if you're Danielle Fiala, if you can put up a 25-goal performance on this Augustana team to put the rest of the conference on notice, I think you kind of have to do that, don't you?
Yeah, I also agree with that. As I said in the first half, it's a big statement game for this Cardinals team if they can really hit it home.
How did Dietjen just get through the entire Viking defense?
I'm not quite sure. She made a left turn and then made a right turn, and the rest was all a blur.
And then squeezed through an alleyway and found herself wide open on the other side. Holy smokes. Goal for Jessica Dietjen. That is her fifth. Let me just confirm that absurd stat. And that is, in fact, the case. 5 goals for Dietjen, 4 for Records, 3 for Steiner. Grace Steiner, that is. Abigail Steiner has 1 as well. 2 for Maddie McHugh, 1 for Mink Richardson-Clark, another one for Nellie Scranton. And that'll be 17 goals.
A lot of contributions up and down this lineup.
What a night for North Central Lacrosse. Another goal! Are you kidding me? Christina Truver. 18-4.
I know we were just talking about holding onto the ball to try and run some clock, but I mean, I guess if you continue to score goals at this point, the clock is still running. So it's almost like the same thing.
It's almost probably better.
Especially with the amount of time that the refs have to take to confirm the goal, check the stick, and everyone get back to center field, and then set up for the face-off. You're knocking off almost a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes at that point.
This is basically the definition of a good defense is a great offense.
Offense wins games, and defense wins championships.
Cardinals have displayed both tonight. Looks like they're ticketed for some hardware this year. How about these battles at midfield? Let's talk about this because obviously the goal scorers are the ones that get a lot of attention, but the Cardinals have been extremely efficient winning possessions, and that should not go unnoticed.
Yeah, they've done a really good job off the face-off, gaining possession and being patient when trying to get possession of the ball and really winning a lot of the ground balls, which has really contributed to an impressive offensive performance.
North Central in that category, the draw controls category, 17 out of 23 have gone their way. That's impressive stuff.
At that point, you don't really need to have a whole lot of time of possession.
Minks, Richardson, Clerk with the goal. And the sophomore makes it 19-4.
So, a couple of games ago, the Cardinals set a season scoring record of 20 goals and then proceeded to improve upon that the next game with 23. There are 24 minutes left in this game, and they already have 19. And at just how quickly they are scoring these goals, they very well could improve upon that again.
This is something else. It really is. I certainly don't mean to convey a sense of shock that the Cardinals are winning, because that would essentially mean that you don't think this team is good enough to win. You know, it kind of conveys that message. But the record speaks for itself. North Central has never beaten Augustana. This is the 10th meeting between the two schools. Last year they lost 12-8, the year before 13-7, the year before 14-4. Track record says that the Cardinals shouldn't be winning this game, let alone winning by 15 goals. And there's still 24 minutes on the clock.
And it's a dominating 15 as well. They're just scoring at will, and the Vikings defense is just struggling to get anything going.
Into the offensive zone, I think for the first time this half. I don't recall the Vikings on this side of the field so far tonight. Bennett controls at the top as they try to stop the bleeding here in the second. A clear but cold and blustery night here in Benedetti Worley Stadium. And I hate to be cliche, but the winds seem to be shifting in the conference, and they're blowing extremely hard in North Central's direction. We might see a new wave and a new competitor in the conference. And the beginning of that could very well be tonight.
And as we've talked about in the first half, this is an extremely young Cardinal team. Everyone on the field, minus the goalkeeper, Sigisio, is a freshman or a sophomore. So you got to be really excited about the way that they've been playing.
Bennett in and cannot convert. Sigisio out in front of the net, scoops it up off the turf and gets it outside. And a little miscommunication for the moment, but Evelyn Wagner has it and is blitzing up the field. Ball bounces, and now a race after it. It's at the 20. The Cardinals appear to be in position to pick it up, to which they do. And can they make it an even 20? If they will, they're going to have to work a little bit harder for it. Richardson Clerk comes in and has to spin out, and a foul called on the Vikings.
And the Vikings almost a little lackadaisical there on defense. They're trying to communicate and set up their defense and almost let Richardson Clerk right through the lane.
Shot on goal is knocked away, and the Cardinals claim it. McHugh out in front, and swiping that is Fowler. So it remains 19-4. 21-27 to go. A much faster pace to the second half. And Clausen gets a whistle called on her. Pass is errant. Richardson Clerk picks it up, and now the Vikings streaking back, trying to get in front of the Cardinals, and I don't know if the Cardinals will allow them to set up. Richardson Clerk, coast to coast, yes!
Another tipped shot, but it just had the right amount of spin on it and finds its way into the net.
If confirmed, which it is now 20-4 North Central on top of Augustana.
North Central goal scored by number 14, Mink Richardson Clerk.
Cardinals with a very balanced scoring attack tonight, and it's really no surprise considering goals have been fairly spread out over the course of the season as well. Coming into tonight, this does not include tonight's stats, Records has 31 goals, Truver with 27, Deachin 26, and Richardson Clerk with 22. The second tier would be Scranton with 16, McHugh with 14, Steiners, Grace with 14, and Annabelle with 10. So, I mean, you go 8 scorers deep, all in double figures in that category this season. You tack on another 5 for Deachin, 3 for Records. You know, these numbers are starting to get a little absurd, to be honest. Records has it. Bennett tracks her down. It also should be noted that the Cardinals have not yet lost at home. Their only loss came when they went out to Colorado. You're playing in, you know, a mile up.
It can, for those that don't play in it frequently, it can really throw you off. You start to feel, you know, shorter of breath, a lot quicker. It's a much different playing field.
18:35 to go here in the second half. 20-4 the score. North Central on top of Augustana. Patience being displayed by NCC. Deachin controls, bumped on her way to the net, and a foul call. And Deachin will have it. Oh, I take that back. It's going to be Augustana ball. They're going to call that against Deachin.
Yeah, I saw the ref signal for the universal charge signal, so I guess that's the call on that one, but Cardinals get it right back.
And that's the same call there, too. Using the elbow to clear some space. A lot of people compare the way this game is played to basketball, and that's a clear similarity right there. Can't use the elbow to try and void yourself of somebody in your personal space. And whacked a few times. Scranton fighting through some batting. And she should have basically a free shot 8 meters away. The equivalent of about 26 feet or so. Here she comes. Good. Goal for Nellie Scranton. And the Cardinals now just 3 away from breaking their season high of goals scored, which was set in, like you said, the last game.
And another thing of note about that, they were only a goal away from tying a single game record.
Program record?
North Central goal scored by number 3, Nellie Scranton.
So should they get to 25, that would not only be a season high, but a program high.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
And if you take into account the last couple of games, Cardinals having scored 20 or more goals, they have scored a whopping 64 goals over the course of 3 games.
Is that good?
No.
No. It's pretty great.
Yes. It's not good. It's great.
Thank you, Tony the Tiger. "16 minutes ago here in the second half. Cardinals lead 21-4. Thank you for joining us tonight. Cardinals have just run away with this game. We've seen North Central dominate in a similar fashion, but against some teams who you wouldn't necessarily believe would put up much of a fight. And a lot of times we see this where teams will come in, you know, soccer or lacrosse or volleyball, what have you, and you'll see them get absolutely hammered. North Central will just demolish somebody, and then they get to the conference and it's a whole different ballgame. It's just a different atmosphere, a different energy. But tonight, like, they beat the University of Northwestern Minnesota by that 23-5 score. They're going to do the same to Augustana. This is an incredible team. His record scores again to make it 22-4. The caliber of team here tonight is not the caliber of some of those pushovers we've seen in years past, which is making this game just absurd.
Yeah, it's either a case of this Cardinal team is for real and other teams in the conference should take note and start to feel a little scared, or the Vikings just came out and were not prepared. So perhaps later on down the line in the conference schedule, other teams will know what to expect and come more prepared and perhaps play this Cardinal team a little better.
Target might be put on their backs. Very well could be.
It could, and for a young team, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Depends on how they react to that.
14:05 to go. Only time will tell. And there's not a ton of time for this success to necessarily go to the Cardinals' heads. There's only 6 games remaining. There's only 2 more home games remaining. And those come against Elmhurst College and the University of Dubuque. Augustana with Bennett charges into the offensive zone, misses wide, and they'll have a chance to recollect. Hannah Tasenga collects the ball behind the net, throws it out in front. Cardinal defense isn't giving up an inch, even though they're up by 18. They're not going to concede something just to be nice. Although, having said that, certainly less contact, there's less checks. I'd say that as Clausen gives a couple of forearm shoves. Take that back. Maybe there just hasn't been a ton of opportunities to do so. McCobb with it. Cuts to the middle and loses the ball on her journey in. And still a battle for it. Ground ball being pushed towards midfield. Still loose. And finally, a player is injured in that scrum, and it's a Cardinal. I cannot see the number on the back of the jersey, but it looks like a lower leg injury for the North Central player. We certainly hope she is all right. Training staff will attend to her with 11:59 to go, and we'll step aside. Wishes with the fellow Cardinal on the field. We'll be right back on NCTV 17. Welcome back. That was Christina Truver, who was helped off the field by the training staff, although it looked like for the most part she was doing so under her own power. So that's encouraging for her. Hopefully she's all right. The Cardinals will sub in, and they will try to eliminate the rest of this clock with this massive lead they've built up on the Augustana Vikings. 22-4. Welcome back to NCTV 17. Kevin Jackman, Zach Bucher.
Hi.
Here in the Benedetti Worley press box. Out in front and off the left goalpost after having it jarred loose from Nellie Scranton's pocket. You know, partner, we're both looking like we're freezing in here. We both have our coats and sweatshirts on, and it's probably a good 30 or 40 degrees warmer in here than it is outside, and there's still a good contingency of Cardinal fans, Cardinal faithful here in attendance, cheering this team on. Kudos to them. You said this before the game. If somebody asked you to go to a lacrosse game tonight, your answer would probably be, you crazy?
Yeah, not really ideal weather conditions for a sporting event. I mean, it's what they play in, and you see some teams play in much, much worse, but it's pretty cold out there. And with the wind being the way that it is, not really your ideal Wednesday night activity.
Well, we were talking to Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher at the half, and he said, this is the 7th home game they've played this year. And not one of them has been played above 50 degrees. And I would contend that probably only 1 or 2 has been played above 40 degrees. It's been a very cold spring, and yet somehow the Cardinals continue to heat up. Goal for Annabelle Steiner, and it's 23-4.
Matching their total from the last game, and 1 away from tying a single game program record.
North Central goal scored
Just an
by number
unbelievable
23,
performance.
Annabelle Steiner.
And I mean, given with how much time is left at about under 9.5 minutes, 2 more goals to set a program record is not something that's not out of reach.
Certainly not. Cardinals have just been so efficient tonight. I think if they really wanted to, they could go get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is, do they have the motivation? Maybe not the motivation, that might be the wrong word, but do they really want to step on the throat in that fashion and take it full throttle to the conclusion of this game?
I know we've talked a couple of times so far about this being a big statement game for the Cardinals in this very tough conference. But I feel at this point, you're up 23 to now 5 after that goal. You've made a statement here tonight.
Statement is made, you think?
You as the Cardinals, you have put other teams on the lookout for you in this conference to come out here, play an Augustana team that has been a conference top tier team over the last couple seasons, and you just come out and demolish them to open up conference play, no less.
It's pretty punctual, I would say. That was Christina McCabe who scored that last goal. That might have actually given the Cardinals free rein to go back and score one on the other end. If I'm a team and I'm blowing out the opposing team and they're still going full at it, trying to put goals up on the board and, you know, playing this game as if it's 0-0, I feel every right of going down and continuing to score at mercy.
Yeah, in a lot of sports, you do see where teams will kind of let up. There's an unwritten, quote-unquote, rule amongst sports where at a certain point, if you're just completely blowing out the other team, you kind of let up. But in a game like this, the way lacrosse works, as you said, if teams are going to come down and try and execute their offense and try and make the game less of a blowout, go down there and continue to put some pressure on them.
And that's what the Cardinals appear to be doing right now. Richardson Clerk gives off. That's Truver back in the game. That's a good sign. She came out and off the field after what appeared to be a leg injury. McHugh can't handle, now gets it back and out in front and just wide. And the Cardinals claim it as it slowly rolls out of bounds. That's Records who has it now in her stick. 6 minutes to go. And a penalty on the Cardinals as Grace Steiner looked exasperated that she didn't get a call. It looked like she might have got shoved in the back. But, well, you're up 23 to 5. I'm not sure you're going to get all those 50-50 calls at this point.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Truver has it, though, throws it out ahead, and Records has her shot deflected out of bounds, and the Cardinals will recover. A nice defensive play for Augustana. That may not have been Truver a goal, and now it's 24 to 5. Although I thought it was just 24 to 5. Scoreboard here at Benedetti Worldly Stadium still reads 23 to 5. Perhaps I have erred. I must have. Or I was just predicting the future. It is now 24 to 5, if you're wondering. So one more goal, and that's a program record.
Yeah, as far as I'm notified from our game notes, that would be a program record for a single game.
Most goals in a game, that's 10 by a single person. That's Gina Fisher. She also had games with 8 and 7 and 7. So kind of a prolific scorer, if you will.
And I don't see this Cardinal team being that way where they have one specific prolific scorer, as we've seen multiple players here tonight score and multiple players with at least 3 or more goals.
So you are correct. It is 24. So that was set 2 years ago against Northwestern of Minnesota. Coincidentally, that was the same team they hung 23 points up against just a few days ago on March 31st. They also put 24 up against Cornell in the spring of 2016. So it's been done, but when you look at this list of teams that they've done things against, 24 to 22, that's the range that is shown on the team's record page. Northwestern, Cornell, Carroll, Linfield, Loras. These are the type of teams that you would expect to blow out. Augustana is not one of those teams.
Which makes this, which would make the record that all more impressive.
I would say so. Paige Nadherney comes off. .245 to play in the game. Cardinals may be running out of time to score.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, I don't see them maybe getting one more offensive possession, and perhaps that possession would be used to just run the clock out.
And the stick breaks.
Oh.
The stick just broke on Emily Lusnick. It just snapped in half.
I've never seen that.
Pass out in front, Manny McHugh has it, splits a couple of defenders, and there is the program record for goals in a game. Manny McHugh tallies up number 25. Comes with 2:11 on the clock. And what a night. What a night.
2 minutes remaining.
And with how that goal came to be, it's almost as if you could say that that was fated to happen, with Lusnick's stick snapping in two, which you don't see very often, or at least I haven't seen it very often.
I've never seen it.
And it leads to a turnover, which leads to the record goal.
You know, the old adage in baseball is, oh, is there a hole in your mitt when a line drive goes past you? In this instance, is there a hole in your stick? No, it just fell apart. Literally, quite literally, just snapped in half. It really did seem fated to be. 25-5 now, program record, most goals in a game. And completed against a team that went 6-0 in conference last year. Unbelievable. We've reached a minute to go in this game. And that might be the last goal we see. That is unless one of these two teams quickly score. .45 ticks remaining. Bennett bending around with a half a minute to play.
30 seconds remaining.
Stops and now has to back out. She's triple teamed right now. Pass to the middle is taken away by the Cardinals. They'll throw it ahead. Are they going to try for one more tally? They could if they want. There's 3-on-2 in that backfield. 5 seconds remaining. Cardinals throw it down, complete to record, and goal for the Cardinals as time expires. 26-5, the final score.
And just by seeing that, you really have to, if you're watching this game as a fan of either team or just a coach in the conference. The Cardinals came out and they were hell-bent on making a statement by beating Augustana by 21.
And they're going to celebrate tonight. This is the first time in program history they've ever taken down the Vikings from Augustana. And they don't just win. They don't just scrape by their arch rival. They demolish the Vikings. They conquer their enemy, and they take them down 26-5. That's the final. What a game. Like you said, the Cardinals came out to play from the opening get-go and just ran away with it. An aggressive attack on offense, a suffocating defense. What more is there to say about this North Central team?
Well, you know, we've talked so much about how good this offense has been tonight, how quickly and efficient they worked on the offensive end. But you have to give credit to their goalkeeper, Sagisio. She did an amazing job in the first half. Didn't really see too much action in the second half, but we talked about it during halftime. That could have been a much different game if she didn't make all of those saves after the first half. So credit to her for really being the spark on the defensive end that led to all the good offense.
10 saves on 15 shots faced, and some of those were huge. I mean, 5 or 6 of those were really difficult saves, and early on. And we mentioned this at the half. She lets those, those go by, and it's a much different game at the break. And you go into the second half, and it's a totally different story. But the story tonight is the Cardinals win by 21 points over Augustana. The final 26-5. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. I want to thank our cameraman and producer, who is the bravest soul of our entire production, Sean Laban, who's on camera tonight, out braving the elements. It's 30 degrees. It's windy. It's cold. Kudos to him. Dave Zappatin back in the NCTV 17 studios. Alongside Zach Bucher, I'm Kevin Jackman. We'll see you next time for more lacrosse on NCTV 17 and on NCTV17.com.